he blows his ass off on the heavy tunes, but in the quieter tunes, when you can hear him whisper, that just blows my mind. We lost like a comrade, but at his best, so that's really cool. That's a great thing to be able to say.
Was very true to himself. He wasn't trying to be anyone else when he'd play. It was just him coming out through his horn.
He had taken everything that he had learned from the great jazz guys and turned it into his style.
He was like, if it doesn't feel safe, he's like, that's probably the idea you should go with. He was a daredevil, man. He would dare to try things that weren't the norm, and I really appreciate being around him for that fearlessness to just put an idea out there and let it develop.
I don't think the music world realizes how much of a loss it was, because he was a genius.
Who's up for 7 now?
We're gonna try something we haven't done before. I like this song. This song is called 7.
I say this about every song, every single song on this record. That's my favorite song. No, that's my favorite song. Every song I hear is my favorite song. But this particular song, 7, is one. It had another title to it at first, in the beginning, but we switched it because I think Dave got another idea, lyric-wise. Feeling a lot better than I did a sound check. I was just so... And I'm still a little, but I'm a lot better, It's just, it's hard to make those transitions like that, Well, at one time it was called Garden Hose, but now it's called 7. But it's a bad mofo.
I think we should change the name again. Change it again.
Change it again. Keep changing it every month. Okay, so hit the root of that. Red is the color
of the sun with my eyes closed. I can still taste you, and I will again.
Even if you did the red is the color
right.
of the, even if once we get to that word sun,
right.
If you split there, because by the time we sing it, you already have it in your ear.
It's just so fun to take up something that's really complex musical statement, but if you can deliver it in a real honest celebration, this is how it goes, this beautiful music, then people hear it, and then they can hear all that, and it's not clever. It's not a clever song.
Right, yeah.
It's genius.
Red is the color of the sun with my eyes closed. That's the one that throws me off. That one. That's the one that's stuck in my head, and I'm like, ah!
That's good, though. Oh. You can sing that. Sing whatever the you want.
No, don't tell me that. Don't do that.
I'm gonna sing whatever I want.
But yours sound right, though. I'd be like Elmer Fudd, man. Be hunting that. Where is that note?
And I keep taking it away. Red is the color of the sun with my eyes.
Oh, man.
Great.
One note. Yeah.
How you doing it now?
That's like so.
Funny twists and turns, goes in and out, that it's just a beautiful arc of a song. I challenge almost any band to make it swing just like a pendulum, the way that song swings. Just like a pendulum.
Red is the color of the sun with my eyes closed. I can still taste you, and I will again.
That tune is blowing up over the web. Everybody's talking about that tune.
From when we played the other night?
The first night we played it, yeah.
That's last night, you idiots.
Last night, it hit hard, real hard. Yeah. It's burning on the internet right now. Yeah.
We knew we needed to make a band record. It had to be something that all of us had our hands in.
Doesn't have to be your style, but I'm willing to bet that the style of music you listen to is well represented on this record, because it's diverse too.
There's no doubt in my mind that the Dave Matthews Band fan who's been with the band from day one, they're just gonna go, oh, this is it. I knew they had this in them. I knew this was the record they were gonna make.
Once we started writing and once we started working together, our ideas were flowing, but also everyone's ears were open to what everyone else was saying, and that was so important for this whole project.
Just like drums, percussion, and hand claps.
And then we could build it up so it's crazy, and then we could slam it closed and go into like that violin and saxophone thing with it and hit that. We knew we had something that was like nothing else, but it's real concise, you know? That doesn't mean there's not, moments of improvisation, absolute improvisation. It starts with it and it ends with it. And then there's moments in it that you have the big piece of granite and just... It starts real close and real personal, and then it just slaps you right across the face. How you doing? I can play the record or just punch you right in the nose. Grux was a nickname that Roy had for Carter, and Carter had for Roy, and Roy and Carter had for Tim. They all called each other Grux. And it was a name they sort of had for each other, or for what they did together when they played music together when they were young. When I met Roy, I spelled his name. I knew it was Roy, I knew it was Leroy, but I spelled it with a Y, and he said, it's not with a Y, it's with an I, like the king. So when we were talking about making the album, we thought Gru Grux King it had a good vibe.
Heaven or hell, I'm going there with the Gru Grux King.
And then we were out doing a photo shoot, and this guy came stumbling down the street drunk, playing the harmonica. Really good playing the harmonica. And he said, I need a big whiskey, and he'd play for people and they'd give him some change. I walked up to the guy and I handed him a 20, and I don't think he saw what it was at first. He said, I need oh, that is a big whiskey. And Rashawn leant over and said, that's a good name for an album, Big Whiskey.
We'll be drinking big whiskey while we dance and sing.
And that's probably, hopefully, what people will end up calling this album. But I like as a full name, Big Whiskey and the Gru Grux King, because it sounds like a fairy tale from New Orleans, which is where he made this album, and it's a great city. And it reminds me of Roy, because he also liked the Big Whiskey.
Out of my head, right into the room. So when my ghost takes me from you, you can't remember the fool that I am. Don't cry, baby, don't cry.
I think there is a tribute feel to Leroy in a lot of ways. I think it's reflected in some of the lyrics, and certainly it's reflected in the artwork.
I thought of my favorite album covers and how you could stare at them for a while you listen to music. And then I thought I'd give a run at scribbling some ideas. The alligator pie, Snake in the woodpile. I haven't drawn in a long time, so I wasn't sure how it would turn out. But I think it turned out fine. At least it can be entertaining while people are listening to the record if you don't have anything else to look at.
That looked like Roy.
I know, kind of. I did one that looked too much like Roy, and when I drew it, and he wasn't as like that, but it does kind of look like him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, he's making records.
In California was earthquake.
Boy, I hope it doesn't look.
Whoa. Oh, cool.
This is the fancy one.
Yeah. Ooh. Look at that dude. He's trippy. Then maybe there's more in.
There better be more.
Wow, that looks amazing.
It looks good. Oh, here.
So cool.
Donkey face boy.
This is horrifying in a way.
Yeah, I know.
It's really creepy.
Yeah, he's most creepy. Rabbits are creepy.
And this is the
Donkey's
face.
donkey-faced.
This is great.
Yeah, it's cool.
So
man.
into it. Oh, look at that.
That's the cover. It's cool.
Oh, I want to get some of these. I want to get each one of these blown up. This
yeah,
gonna be like
they're
put in a
gonna
frame.
have like I think every page, they're gonna have in here a little photo book of Roy, and there's gonna be the DVD, and the CD, and the extra CD, and then there's gonna be a book, photo book of all of us, and then all those posters. Like these.
Is this a font, or did you actually
I
hand
wrote everything.
Really?
Yeah. You can see
That
where I
is amazing.
ran out of pen. Change pen. Oh, wrong pen. Ran it back to the other pen.
That's some pretty neat handwriting you got there.
I always make up lyrics.
That's good.
And then people get attached to versions of the lyrics that I made up on the spot live. Like there's a song that people ask for all the time called Number 40, which I've never ever written the lyrics for. But apparently there's a version out there that is the one that everyone likes. But the thing is that's unfair is that then when people want me to play it, but I don't know it, and I never knew it. So people, why don't you do it? I don't know it.
I did
I've never heard it before. I don't know what the lyrics are. I never knew what they were.
Just popped out of you one night.
They were just bleh. You know? I know it goes. That's I know the music for it. That's it. Same old thing I do all the time.
Dave, as a man, absolutely unique. There's nobody like this guy. If you ever get to spend time with him, you'll discover that he is hilarious.
Touch me. If I had a painting that looked exactly like this, like you two guys and those two guys,
Like us both looking at
and then, and then this whole thing, that'd be an awesome painting.
As a writer, God, he's probably my favorite or one of my favorites. He's just absolutely intense on pushing the envelope, doing something new, finding great grooves.
I can't remember what the arrangement was or anything, so.
All right.
And the music's gonna come out of.
All the rest of the guitar. Because he's from South Africa and from other parts of the world, he has a different musical experience that makes him think a little differently.
I have very limited guitar skills, but I think I've exploited my limitations as well as possible, as well as could be expected. Oh, that's a nice cue. Do you hate this song?
Some of his main influences were these great South African, keyboard players. But he had a guitar, so he was like, how do I get these rhythms, these South African rhythms, into my pop songs? That the fact that there's this amazing mix of sound and soul and groove that he's constantly striving for makes him absolutely one of a kind. Also, he's not that far off, is he? No.
Dougie and Robbie. Are you already becoming impatient with me? What are you, out of your minds? What are you insane? I can't believe you're sitting there looking at me like, well, okay, let's finish this song, get on with something else.
Yeah, it goes to this B. He's very
Yes,
sensitive.
Commandant.
You're very sensitive.
My hand will be broken by the end of this.
You're gonna be in the middle of chorus 1. I like this section. Me too. It's good.
Second end, obviously, we're gonna fade. We can't do that